Hello everyone, I'm Grandmaster Matthew Sadler, and today we're going to have a look at, a game that you might have seen quite a bit recently. It's the first game of the World Championship match between Magnus Carlsen and Jan Nepomniachtchi. The game where Jan Nepomniachtchi was white and Magnus Carlsen was black. I've been spending a lot of time with my engines during the World Championship, actually trying to apply some of the techniques that I describe in my new book, The Silicon Road to Chess Improvement. In particular, I've been playing a lot of engine games from various positions from these World Championship games, just to try and get an idea, I suppose, of two things. First of all, you try and play engine games and you see the general trend of results. When are there plenty of draws? When do the draws turn into a run of wins? That normally gives a very good idea of a trend in the game. But also simply to discover ideas that weren't tried on the board but were maybe latent or dormant behind it. And, let's have a look at how the game progressed, and I found something quite interesting in this game. So this was the first game, Ruy Lopez, and Magnus Carlsen played this idea knight a5. So it's virtually unseen over the board, but it's Stockfish's second choice on my hardware. How about Leela? Well, we'll take a look at that later. There's something quite interesting in that. But Correspondence Chess has been active in this position, and the Nepomniachtchi Carlsen game really only left those shores with White's 17th move, and that's also true for a host of engine games played on the CCRL rating site. So it's quite interesting to note that when I gave this position to Komodo and Revenge in a 45-minute plus 5-second game, the first game immediately reached the position that Jan and Magnus reached after Black's 16th move. And that indicates that the line is relatively forcing. And it's very attractive for a black opening variation in a World Championship match. The white player is allowed little scope for creativity or fantasy. He's sort of shoehorned into a narrow type of game. And, the actual position that was reached after move 16, we'll just go to that now, is also pretty attractive for black in a World Championship match. It's a queenless middle game, a pawn down, but with compensation in the form of two bishops in an open position and a better pawn structure. And, white doesn't really have a clear plan. And black has a multitude of ways to keep a relative balance in the position. And, I saw this when pitting my strongest engines against each other. All sorts of different plans, including the plan that I liked, which was essentially putting the knight to b4 and then aiming to advance on the king's side. Loads of different plans and all leading to a draw. Even when I put Fritz 17 on 8 threads against the latest development Stockfish on 14 threads, it still only produced 1 win in 3 games for Stockfish. And, that was a result of some rather loose play from Fritz from the 48th move in a fairly equal position. So, this is, pretty decent. But funnily enough, there was one early possibility to spice things up, and that was for black. So, and it was something that Revenge kept on wanting to try. So, I just thought I'd show you this quickly because it's quite fun. Bishop b7, d3, d5 takes, queen f3, bishop d6, and then this move king f1 from Nepomniachtchi, and this was played very, very quickly. So I imagine that Nepomniachtchi was prepared for the following option, but still, it would have been quite interesting. Magnus played the subtle move rook fb8, which threatens queen takes e5 with a discovered attack on the queen. But he could also have played the move queen takes e5. And then after queen takes b7, necessary because rook takes c5, bishop f3 wins a piece, we play the move queen h2. And obviously, White's king f1 was intended to sidestep this idea. Well, even without a check on h2, White's position is obviously pretty dangerous. Black's going to play a rook to e8, try and stop the king from escaping, and then give a queen check on h1. So White's obvious idea is to play a bishop to e3, and escape with the king on e2, but that's still quite scary. I think it would have been great if Jan hadn't been prepared, but, well, judging from the speed he played it, he was probably reasonably okay on this line. Now, there's a couple of interesting ideas in this. So one idea that Komodo was always playing was queen f3. And there's a great idea here. So rook e8, bishop e3. And now both Koivisto and Stockfish came up with a great idea. Knight h5. Wow, in your face. So we're threatening knight f4, actually, just followed by queen h1. But it's a piece sacrifice, right? The piece has gone. But now we play f5. And this is actually quite tricky. The bishop can't move, and we're just threatening f4. Yeah, you know, well, what's white to do? I mean, this is coming in very close, and you know, we've got a rook on e8 and f8. So if we play f4 takes e3, the rook on f8 is, you know, coming into play. So f4 was played here, takes, and now a number of options. Koivisto played f4, Stockfish played queen check, king f2, f4, and queen c1, and just sort of grabbed material this way. And after rook a6, queen b1, rook c6, queen g1, takes there. Well, actually, my engines agreed a draw, which was rather lazy of them. But yeah, I mean, the position is just about equal. So that's one lovely idea. Probably the best idea for white is to play knight c3. And then there's various options. Koivisto played knight h5, and this worked out pretty well. Rook f8, actually both Koivisto and Stockfish played this. Yeah, g4 was Stockfish's bailout, really. Takes. It's slightly better for white, but, well, an engine holds it without any sort of trouble. With white, Koivisto played queen c6, but after f5, sort of had to hit the panic button and escape away because black was coming. So you know, that proved yeah, reasonably effective for black here. Also, the move b4 was played by Komodo as black, and yeah, this also led to some draws. Knight d1, rook a8, check, bishop e3, knight h5, king d2, knight f4. Queen c6, king f8, rook a6, takes. And, well, black's a pawn down, but white's structure is shattered. We can go after the h-pawn with knight f4 at some stage. Also play f5 to f4 to embarrass the bishop. Yeah, it's pretty clear that black's doing sort of okay here. So, yeah, this was a very interesting line, but obviously I think what Magnus preferred really was a move like rook fb8, bishop d2, c5. It's a very fluid position. You know, just plenty of possibilities for black to play. No need for high accuracy. Actually perfect, you know, when you're not 100% sure what white will play. You maybe can't remember all of the concrete lines that you might have after a queen takes c5. You can simply play the position. And of course, Magnus played this exceptionally well in this game. So, you know, I mentioned that this was Stockfish's second move in its list of moves. What about Leela? Well, Leela is a funny case, and what I'm going to show you, I'm going to look at Leela's output with a tool called Nibbler, and we're going to see what Leela thinks. In principle, it thinks that on the 8th move, bishop b7 is the best move, just like Stockfish, and it thinks that knight a5 is the second best move, just like Stockfish. But there's a strange glitch in the way that it displays this, and, well, let's have a little look together with Nibbler, and you'll see what I mean. So this is the position after white's 8th move, 8h3, from Nepomniachtchi against Carlsen, first game of the 2021 World Championship. In this position, there are many common moves. Bishop b7 is one common move, for example. But here Magnus Carlsen uncorked the idea knight a5. Now, I'd like to see what Leela thinks about this, and for this we're going to be using the tool called Nibbler, which is a fantastic way of looking into Leela's brain. And amazingly, you can also put Stockfish into here and also get an insight into Stockfish's brain as well. But Leela's the one that interests us here. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to tell Leela when you analyse, only look at 1,000 nodes. That means 1,000 half moves. So it's going to be a very short, brief analysis, but, well, we're going to get an idea of what Leela thinks, right off the bat. And by the way, Leela analysing for 1,000 nodes only, that's already much stronger than a grandmaster like me. Probably, I'm definitely stronger on when Leela thinks only for one half move. When it starts getting to 10 half moves, then, life starts getting difficult. So let's go for that analysis here. And, this is the output, and we see some very interesting figures here. One of the key figures is this one, 45.9%. That's Leela's expected score as black. In other words, it thinks it would score 45.9% from this position, which just means slightly worse for black. In practice, that would just mean a draw. Now, another couple of very interesting figures here are the N. This is the number of nodes that it's searched. Here as a percentage of the whole, and here as an actual number. And actually what you see is that the moves are ordered according to the number of nodes that it's searched. And that's really the order in which Leela would play them. It plays the moves that it's searched the most, it just sort of goes down that list according to that parameter. And that's very important to realise, that it's not the highest evaluation of a move that matters, it's the number of moves for that variation that it's looked at. Another interesting one is P, which is that's the initial expectation that Leela has that this will be the best move in the position. So here, bishop b7, that's 42.11. That's pretty confident. If we go down to Magnus's move, we see it's got an evaluation of 40.1, which isn't bad, but quite a way away from the top move. But only a P of 2.92%. So that sort of confidence that Leela has that this would be the best move is pretty low. And why not? I mean, it just gives away a pawn, unprotects the e5 pawn. That just seems a little bit odd, doesn't it? Now let's tell Leela to look a little bit deeper. Should we go to 10,000? Off we go. 10,000. And we're seeing things moving a little bit. That's all happened quite quickly. Knight a5 still very low here. Evaluation has increased a little bit, but not getting that much attention. Now here's something starts getting interesting now, because we're going to move it up to 100,000 nodes, which is starting to get pretty decent amount of analysis. So go, and what you see is that Knight a5 is moving up, and its evaluation is rising as well. 44.2 there. Ooh, going up. Now on the third move, 45.0. It's almost the top-rated move. So it's moving up there. Very interesting. 100,000 nodes. It's in position 3. But it's getting a lot more attention. Surely now, if we analyse a bit more, then it'll go right to the top. Well, should we put it on 1 million nodes? Let's be millionaires here. And off we go. So, my PC is just a little bit slower than normal. Normally I get about 14,000 kilonodes per second, but 14 kilonodes per second, 14,000 nodes per second. But because I'm recording this at the same time, the video card's a little bit stressed. So we see Knight a5 in third place. Funnily enough, it's the highest rated move, but it's still not moving to the top. It's still third in the list. Not really getting the attention you think it would deserve. But we're carrying on, 300,000, 400,000. Evaluation moving down a little bit, 44.9. No longer 44.8, but the top move is decreasing as well. So, it's still the equal top rated move. Now there's a difference. The top move moves to 45. And you sort of see that Knight a5 has got a bit of a downward trend. It's gone from about 45.2 and it's moving down to 44.8. But still, second rated move by quite a clear distance, but somehow still in third place in the list. So we let it carry on, 600,000, 6/10 of the way. Leela still analysing. Just moving. Yeah, this is a little bit watching paint dry, you could say, but it is actually quite interesting when you've seen the whole process. And this can be repeated for other positions sometimes. But I just enjoyed this one an awful lot because it was, such a crucial position. As you can see, 44.8, still clearly the second best move, but only third in Leela's list. When you look at the total number of nodes, this one's getting a lot more, 50.3 thousand. And here 20.9, and knight a5's even gone down to fourth, below a move that has a much lower evaluation. Isn't that amazing? 851,000 nodes, just waiting for it to round off here. Again, 44.8, clear second place. It has moved down, probably 0.5% or something like this, but still holding up at a pretty decent level. 936,000 nodes. We're nearly at 1 million there. Sometimes in my tests this knight a5 goes down to fifth. Looks like it's going to stay at fourth here. So what has actually happened here? Well, it's this weird situation that we've got a top move, okay, bishop b7, best move, but then we've got two moves with a lower evaluation, 44.1, 43.9, and then a move with a higher rating, 44.8, that's only in Leela's fourth place. And why is that? Well, I chatted with the Leela devs, and they explained stuff to me. I mean, I'm sort of I'm translating what they say and probably simplifying an awful lot. So do forgive me, but I think this is basically the way that it is. The key thing is this value, this initial value. When this initial value is low, and if this move doesn't have the highest evaluation, then it just tends to get submerged simply by moves that had an initial confidence value, higher confidence value from Leela, this p value, and also a higher evaluation. So it would need quite a bit of extra attention in order to move it up to the list to get the required number of nodes, and it just never gets that because it's just simply not important enough. It was thought to be bad at the start, and its evaluation is not so high that it automatically gets masses of attention. And this is the reason why it stays on a low number of nodes, and then this is the reason why it stays fourth in Leela's list, because other moves just got a lot more. What it also had was a downward trend, of course. It was at 45.2, it moved down to 44.8. So, probably Leela also thought there, well, this moves on a downward trend, I'm going to take a little bit longer before looking at it again. And then it just gets less attention. Now, why is this interesting? Well, simply, if you're analysing in a normal GUI, where maybe you've just got the first two lines or something like that, you could easily miss this one. You could just easily not see that Leela has got a pretty high evaluation for knight a5 and just focus on the first two moves. I think the lesson that I took from it was that whenever I've got an interesting position to analyse with Leela, I'm going to have a look at it first with a tool like Nibbler, or not a tool with Nibbler, in order to get a good idea of what Leela thinks about the position. And then afterwards, if you see that there's an odd little move like this, then I'll actually input it into the position, play something like knight a5 here, and then get Leela to start having a look at it. Go for it, Leela. Give me a million nodes on this one. I think it's one of those examples about why it's very important to know how your engines think, and also so that you can better anticipate where the weaknesses can be and what it will see and what it won't see. And I think also that, this is a very interesting indication, because the move 8 knight a5 had a very low initial policy value. That means that Leela felt that it was an unlikely move to be the best move. And yet you saw such a high evaluation. Well, if Leela thinks it's an unlikely move to be a best move, that's often sort of matching the human perspective. I can tell you, if an amateur had played knight a5 against me, I would have tapped on the e5 pawn and said, "Are you sure you want to leave that one hanging?" So I think it's a perfectly valid assessment of the position. But yeah, just the way that Leela works, that can also have an influence in terms of the moves that it might play, and also the moves that it might display in a short analysis. So there we are. I mean, I hope that's interesting, and I hope this tool Nibbler has inspired you a little bit. I'd certainly recommend anyone who's serious about working with engines to get it. And I hope that was interesting, and just shows you what understanding an engine, what that can actually give to you in terms of understanding positions as well. So there we are. I hope you found this video interesting. I mean, I got the idea to do it when I saw a comment, I think it was quoting Anish Giri actually, where he said that the Carlsen team favoured Stockfish and the Nepomniachtchi team favoured Leela. Now, I'm pretty sure that the teams are looking at both engines, but just having noticed this little strange little thing in Leela's move ordering, I just thought it was when I heard this comment about Nepo's team and Magnus's team, it just made me think that this might be an interesting video for everyone. So hope you enjoyed that. If you did enjoy the video, then why not give me a like? Why not subscribe to the channel? There's lots of different stuff on it. Some human games like this, and plenty of fantastic engine games that nobody knows about but are simply the best chess on the planet. And otherwise, well, thanks very much for watching, and hopefully see you at the next video.